time. Right, so what is up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Once again, you know I appreciate having you here. Now what we're going to do on this Africa Twin, this is the 2020 CRF1100l Africa Twin Adventure Sport. What we're going to do is going to go through the switchgear here and the dashboard, not in depth. This is still a first impressions review. I'm just doing this one separate because I think this is going to take a little bit longer than it does normal, because there's so much electric stuff on here and gizmos and gadgets that it's going to take a little while to get through, so I'm doing this as a separate video. If you want to see the walk around video and the ride video, the first impressions of how I get on with it ergonomically and what I think of the bike and looking at certain stuff around it, engine, wheels, etc., click downstairs. There's a video for that one down there, or I might be able to drop it on the screen towards the end of this one. Right, so let's go through the handlebars and the dashboard area. We'll start it up. And there you go. As you can see, it's a nice TFT screen. It's a 6.5 screen on that. Let's get rid of the disclaimer, basically saying if you fall off, it's your own fault. And as you can see, we've moved on since the old Africa Twin. This is much better. Now at the moment we've got the full in-depth screen on here. The shop have set it up how they want it. There are different modes with different screens on here. You can set any mode up with any screen. It's totally up to you. You can customize it how you want it. This one's got basically the most information on it, so we'll go through this one and then I'll go through the settings, some of the different features on it, etc. And what it is touchscreen. You've got down here, you've got all the buttons down here. This is for when you're on the move, because when you're moving you've got the throttle open, you can't use a touch screen. It's a safety feature. Come to a standstill and do it when you're like this. This is the best way to do it anyway. You don't want to be mucking around with this while you're going along. Right, as I said, it's touch screen, so we're going to that in a minute. What I want to do is go through this first of all. We are in tour mode. You can see the mode up here, and it's telling me I've got the side stand down. Rev counter around the outside, miles per hour. There's your gear indicator here. Neutral, that's your fuel gauge there, your engine temperature gauge there. You've got a few little things over here. That's your ABS, your HSTC, which is your traction control, your wheelie control, and G mode, which I think is gravel mode. So if I press that, yeah, it's put G on there, so that's gravel mode. I probably should have used that when I went off-road, but I didn't. That's another video anyway. That's on the other video. So you got 4 different settings on here. You got trip A, average consumption, average speed and consumption. Then press 2, trip B, with all the same, average consumption, average speed and consumption as you're going along, as in now, instant. 3, instant consumption, range is 58 miles at the moment. You've got battery voltage and then the date and the time down there. And 4 is the settings that I just had it on. Yeah, so I started in 4 and then went back to 1. Done it arse about it, but what can you do, eh? Right, down here is you've got your power mode, and this is different to these ones here. These 3 here tell you how much you've got on or off. Now with power, number 1 is full power. So number 1's full, 4 is the least power. It's the other way around with these 2. Engine braking, 1 is the least, 3 is the most. Same with traction control. It's got 7 levels of traction control. So 1 is the least and 7 is the most. Here you've got your G mode, which is down here, which is your gravel mode. On the old DCT it was just a G button on here. You'd press it on the dash and that'd turn it off. Because this is all computerized now, it's on your dashboard. And then you've got your ABS here, which is telling me it's on and it's on the road. You can switch it off for the rear only. I think the front stays on, so I'm pretty sure it is rear only. Right, down here you've got another speedo. Neutral, which is your gear indicator and your total miles. We've only done 40 miles on this bike. You've got a neutral light here, oil light there, traction control light there, ABS there. You've got a few other lights in there, engine temperature, engine management. I'm trying to look through the glare here, I can't really see. Fuel light there, you've got cruise control light there, and your high beams and low beams and your indicators. Now if you want to see what this looks like at night, I shall cover the sensor, which is here, and it'll turn onto the black screen, which shows you what it's like at night. So there you go, that's your night vision. I actually prefer it in that. If it was a little bit brighter, you can muck around with the brightness. As I said, the settings on the menu, and you can muck around with this as much as you like to customize it to your taste. But I do like it in the black. But if it is a sunny day, that's probably the better one. Right, so let's go into the settings. So if I press at the top there, and what this is, it's not like a phone. It's not sensitive to the electrics. It's actually touch sensitive. So you press it in slightly, not a lot. So it will work with gloves. Right, riding information is basically the screens. That's the one we were on. Then you go down to phone. I haven't got mine connected, couldn't be bothered, but it will connect. Your smartphone will connect to this. So you got phone, media, which again is your phone connected to this. You can connect it via Bluetooth, or you can connect it straight into the USB port here. This is waterproof, so you can put your USB in there and close it. The only thing this doesn't have is a cubby hole, so you can't put your phone anywhere, so you will need to have a phone holder or a tank bag to put your stuff in. A little bit of an oversight, but not the end of the world. Right, so we shall switch straight down to settings here, and you've got function, which is user modes. So if I click on that, you've got user 1, user 2. That means you can set it up how you want it. Your engine braking, your traction control, your power, anything you want, you put it in 1 or 2, and then you can go straight to the settings how you want them. Down here is trip, which is just a trip. I mean, I was playing with this earlier. I don't know why you can change it up and down. I don't know whether you can count down or it just counts up, or it's just a trip. I don't know what it does basically. You'll have to look at the instruction manual for that, or go and see someone at Honda. They know more than I do, obviously. I've just picked this up from the shop and had a quick little look round, so you and I are going through this together. This one here is auto cancel turn signal. I didn't know it had self-cancelling turn signal, so that's something I've just learned. So obviously you can turn that on and off. And the hiss indicator, which I assume is the little red light that flashes to tell you the alarm's on. Why you'd want to turn that off, I don't know, but you never know. Each to their own. Right, let's go down to display, and you've got display mode. Let's click that. Oh, and that basically gives you, you've got tour, urban, gravel, off-road, user 1, user 2. So these are all the different settings, how it's set up, sort of like from the factory. Apart from these two, these are your two, but from the factory you've got tour, urban, gravel and off-road, and that will give you certain settings on the power, the engine braking and traction control. But what this does is means you can change the display. This is the one we've got up at the moment. When we go onto our main screen, the one I just showed you is this. It's got all the information on there, but you can change it. So if I just click that button there, it changes. It says gravel, but it could be any one of these, and you can get that up. So that information, you can actually turn it completely off, as in speedo, because you've still got your speedometer down here. So you can just have rev counter up there and just basic information. It's completely up to you. Down here, brightness, that speaks for itself. Background, as I said, you can go black, white, you can choose. You can go auto for brightness, or you can just turn it up and down. Favorite information. Do people have favourite information? I'm sure people do, but you can muck around with this and just, because you have got a favourites button here, a star, so I don't know whether they're linked. I would assume so. Right, back to the main menu and general. So you've got date, time, units, so you can change your temperature, your speed, your mile consumption, so you can do litres, whatever you want. Volume, so that would be your music, your phone, everything is connected to your Bluetooth headset basically. You can control from here. Language, I don't know why I clicked on that, we all know what that means. I won't press restore default settings, the shop might be a little bit pissed off at that. Right, service. Down here you got maintenance, so obviously there's nothing on here at the moment because nothing's been set up and it's only done 40 miles. Down here, DTC, don't know what that does. It says current on there. Again, don't know what that means. Initialize, that says touchscreen calibration. I'm not going to muck around with that. Service mode, you got a DRL service mode, which is your daytime running light service mode, and corner light service mode. That's what I pressed earlier to test the cornering lights, or you won't have seen that on this video. When I did the walk round, I had to turn the cornering lights on, and that's how you turn them on, to have a little look to see if they're working. So I did that earlier, but normally they just work straight off the bat when you turn the engine on. System information, right, I won't muck around with any of that. I'm not a guru when it comes to this stuff. Right, so let's go through the handlebars and some of the functions on here. This is a DCT bike, which means it's fully automatic, or you can have it in manual mode via flappy paddles on here, but predominantly it's an automatic bike. It has no clutch. This is not a clutch. I know I said I'll start over here and I've gone straight over here. That's a handbrake to stop it rolling away basically. Right, so over on the right, obviously we've got a throttle and a front brake. We've got a starter here. On the back here you've got a function button. I should go through that in a minute. Let's just put that back to the normal screen. Down here you've got your DCT control here. You've got neutral, you've got drive, and then sport. You've got 3 sport modes. We went through that on the other video, the walk around video and the riding video. And you've got automatic and manual button here, which will switch it into these flappy paddles over here, so you can use it manually. Down here, which is new for this bike, which they didn't have on the other bike, which in a video way back when I said all Africa Twin should have a standard, they finally got cruise control. It's a nice simple system. Push the button and you got up and down with that one. And if you want to back off the cruise control, it's got 3 ways of turning the cruise control off. Number 1, you accelerate. Number 2, you touch the front brake. Or number 3, which Honda do, is they've got a little bit of play in the throttle where you just tap it that way. It's only a millimetre or so, but if you roll off the throttle and tap it that way towards the front, it will turn it off. Right, on the back here is your function button. If I hold that down, that comes up with your heated grips here, and then you fly over to this side, and I'll put that up again. So press that one, heated grips, and this one here, you see it going up there, and it also goes up there as well. So you've got 2 bars of information. If I press it again, you've got your lights, which is auto. I believe this is daytime running lights. I'm not actually sure with that. I won't like to tell you and then get it wrong. And if I press it a 3rd time, this is volume. So I assume that's connected to your headset and your Bluetooth for when you're using other stuff. Also, on this dashboard, I haven't got it plugged in at the moment because I haven't got my phone set up, is you've got Apple CarPlay. So you can connect your phone to it and use all the functions from your phone. You have to have it hardwired in through here, but you can use Waze, Google Maps, and it'll all come up on the screen here. You can also use Apple Music and things like that. It only works with Apple at the moment. I believe they're working on an Android system, but at the moment it's only Apple. You can use Android phones and other phones by connecting them in and using other functions, but you can't use it as in mirroring, as in the Apple CarPlay function. You can't use it through the dash, use your maps. As I said, Waze, that's a good one. There are other GPS systems out there, so don't hate me for that one. But it's good for the music, making phone calls. Any Bluetooth phone, you can connect to it and use it through the screen as a phone, like GPS connected, but you just can't use it as mirrored, if that makes any sense whatsoever. I think it does. Right, let's go over to this side. This here is a parking brake, essentially, because when you've got an automatic bike, you can only park it in neutral, so you can't put it in 1st gear to stop it rolling up and down hills. So what you do is you put it in neutral, put the parking brake on. That acts like when you're putting it in 1st gear in a manual bike. So you've got your lights here. You can turn your full beams on by flicking it up, and then push to pass by pushing it down. Here's your function button. As I went through with this one here, that adjusts it up and down. Here I've got nothing connected, so this isn't going to work at the moment, but this works in conjunction with your phone to make phone calls, so you don't have to tap the screen. As I said, the screen does not work while you're moving, while you're going along and throttling. It won't work, so use everything on here rather than on there. When you're stationary, you can use that, but when you're going along, use this. You will get used to the difference. The problem with electronics is it does scare a lot of people. There's a lot of faff going on with electronic systems, but they're not really that difficult to understand. You only need to spend an hour playing with them. Take them in your garage or ride around and have a play with them. Go through all the functions, set it up how you want, because once you've set it up how you want and you know what everything does, things become quite simple. So that won't work unless I've got my phone connected. Down here you've got a star. I don't know, I think that's a favourites button, but when I'm pressing it, it's changing my traction control up here. So again, I'm not 100% sure what's going on there, but the shop have set it up how they want it, how they want to demonstrate it to their customers. So I don't really want to muck around going to the settings and change it how I would set it up. I just want to stick to basically what they've got. So that's that. So that star button does say, I assumed it was favourites, but I could be wrong. Down here we've got an enter button, that speaks for itself. Then you've got a hooter. Here you've got left, right, and as you can see up here, it's changing the modes. By tapping it left and right, it just scrolls through here. If I tap it up and down, it would change through the modes on the actual system, the engine modes. And you can just scroll through those and then put it in whatever one you want. Over here is a back button, then you've got a rewind and a forward button. I will assume they're connected to Apple CarPlay, and when you just want to scroll through the tracks, etc., things like that. Underneath here you've got your flappy paddles. You've got minus on the thumb side, and on the other side you've got plus, so it's up that side, down that side. Under here, indicators, hazard lights. That's about it. It sounds complicated, it sounds like there's a lot going on, but give me, I don't know, half an hour of just sitting here playing around, not filming, mucking around, taking it out and about around the car park, testing all the modes, and I reckon within half an hour to an hour I'll have everything down that I need to know. You've also got a 12-volt socket down here, so as well as a USB here, you've got a 12-volt socket here. So all in all, it's pretty good. I think that about sums up the dashboard. I hope it was enough information. Probably wasn't. As I said, I've only just got this bike. I had a brief run through in the shop, so I might have missed something. I might have said something that actually that wasn't the function. I just assumed it was, so I could be wrong. If you know how these things work and you want to correct something, just drop a line down in the comment section. I've got no problem with that, correcting me. It's not a problem at all. We can't get everything right. I've only got this bike for a short while of time. I'm trying to give you a wealth of information, or as much information as I can in a short period of time, with not a lot of information coming my way. It is a first impressions ride. As I said, I'm not a journalist. I haven't been sent any of the buff. I'm just on this bike to ride and tell you guys how it goes. Anyway, let's just crack on. We ride back to the shop now. It's about a 25-minute ride back to the shop, so we're going to have a little bit more of a play. I'm going to test out again more of the handling, see how I get on with it. I'm loving it up to now, I have to be honest. I'm absolutely loving this bike up to now. So we're going to have a bit more fun on the way back, and then I'll give you my conclusion at the end.
Get all your bags, get out my house. I don't want your stuff around. I never did you wrong, but you did me wrong. So go ahead, get gone. Get all your bags, get out my house. I don't want your stuff around. I never did you wrong, but you did me wrong. So go ahead and get gone.